Since July 2009, Debra March has served as Councilwoman for Ward 2 in the City of Henderson. Councilwoman March was recently selected by her fellow members to serve as the chair of the Southern Nevada Strong Consortium Committee. A Southern Nevada resident for more than 22 years, Councilwoman March has a long track record of service to her community. She's currently a board member of the ULI Nevada District Council and secretary of the Henderson Community Foundation, and was recently selected to serve as the president of the Nevada League of Cities. In addition, Ms. March has a history of dedication to planning, having served as a Henderson Planning Commissioner between 2004 and 2009, a board member of the American Planning Association, and the first chairperson of the planning directors of the Southern Nevada Strategic Planning Authority, if anybody remembers that, the precursor to the SNRPC. So please join me in welcoming Councilwoman Debra March.
Thank you very much, Stephanie, and I have to tell you, Mayor Smith is a tough act to follow. What an inspiring speaker. And you know, I don't know about all of you, but the things that I heard this afternoon really have inspired me. And I'd just like to know from you, did you hear something this afternoon that inspired you to action? I'm glad to hear that, because we heard from some great folks who are doing wonderful things in our community. And as the mayor said, you know, we have possibilities here, and we can have something different if we choose to do something different, or we can keep doing the same thing over and over again. And I kind of feel like let's not waste a perfectly good economic crisis in Southern Nevada. So. Well, what you've just participated in is a taste of what lies ahead for us if we work together to plan and map out our goals for the future growth and prosperity here in Southern Nevada. And I'm reminded of a quote by a renowned early 20th century architect and urban planner, Daniel Burnham, who said, "Make no little plans, for they have no magic to stir men's blood. Make big plans, aim high in hope and in work." And I think that really needs to be an inspiring doctrine for all of us. We have a lot of work ahead of us, but I think we have great outcomes ahead of us as well. So today begins the multi-year community planning engagement for Southern Nevada Strong. And as you know, we have many jurisdictions here in Southern Nevada, and each of them has their own strategic plan, their own governing board, and their own sense of direction. But we have one thing in common, and that is that we are all Southern Nevadans. What this means is that we look at the world through multiple lenses. We're concerned with what happens in our own communities, but we're also concerned about the influence and sphere of influence that we have in our communities. And sometimes we forget to look at how these decisions and our impacts impact other communities as well. So Southern Nevada Strong will give us an opportunity to take all of these visions and to focus them through a single lens while expanding the opportunity for more folks to get involved. Through this engagement process, we're also going to be collaborating with a number of other grant and initiatives here in Southern Nevada, including the Las Vegas Healthy Communities Coalition, which will be working to embrace a shared regional vision of education, health, housing, public safety, and then use an evidence-based decision-making process to implement what works for children, youth, and adults across the cradle to career continuum. The Strong Communities, Strong Cities Visioning Challenge grant of $1 million was awarded to the City of Las Vegas to address quality and access to health care. And here again is another example of where the federal government is stepping in, because we've proven to them with this grant that we were viable and that we should be receiving grants from the federal government. Also, the Comprehensive Economic Development Strategy, or CEDS, is an economic development planning effort currently underway, and it's meant to unify the economic development efforts in our region with the state, with a focus on targeted sectors as well as emerging sectors in the economy. The purpose of their plan is to provide the region with a blueprint for rebuilding the region's economy over the coming 3 to 5 years. This Regional Development Authority will lead the implementation of the strategy that's expected to be completed this March, and then will be incorporated into this process as well. So Southern Nevada Strong complements and expands on these and other initiatives by focusing on place-based strategies and an equitable approach to future development and public investment. And that's the key thing, too, is this public investment, so that we're being more thoughtful and strategic in our decisions about that investment. At this time, I'd personally like to thank Shelley Paticha and the folks at the Department of Housing and Urban Development, and maybe you all could stand so you could be recognized. And folks here as well. They provided us with the important funds and resources needed to help us move through this process of gathering information and hearing from our constituents. And what for them, our constituents, will make Southern Nevada a better place to live, work, and to raise families. Shelley represents the national commitment to a new kind of process, the importance of reaching out to our residents rather than waiting for them to come to us. The key to Southern Nevada Strong is very simple. We want to hear from everyone. We have a lot of dedicated leaders in this room and across the community. And the people who spoke on our panel earlier today were the kinds of representatives of leadership in our community that we have. And we want to thank them for sharing their vision with us today and for shedding light on a few of the issues that we have before us. So I'd like to ask all of those folks to stand, and we'd like to acknowledge you. Yeah. Thank you so much. Your passion was definitely heard. Well, all of you are actively involved, and you make sure that your voices are heard, and your voices are heard. But there are hundreds of thousands of people across our community whose voices are not yet heard, who don't participate in discussions like these for many reasons, perhaps because they're too busy trying to make ends meet, or they don't know how to be heard, or they don't think anyone will listen to them, or they think nobody really cares what they think. But I know this for sure. It's not because they don't care. The worker who relies on bus transportation to get to work every day cares about transportation in the valley and what's going to be happening there. The mother whose child gets sick cares about health care and where to find it. The father who wants his children to play and learn cares where the parks are and the schools are. And all of these people have something to say, and we need to encourage them to share, and you know what? We need to listen to them as well. And you know what's interesting? Each of these people have a sphere of influence of their own as well. They're the retirees who volunteer for their homeowners association board, the veterans who meet together, the parents who attend PTA, and the hairstylist who discusses social affairs in her chair. The office manager or team leader that other workers look up to, these leaders are everywhere across our community. And we need to know what's making their lives more difficult, and what we could do and what suggestions can be made to make it simpler. And how we can take that information and put it into a plan for Southern Nevada that will move us forward and make us stronger. So that's why we're here today, to get committed leaders like those in this room and throughout Southern Nevada to help us get as many voices to the table as possible. And that's where you all come in. And more about that in just a minute. We learned from Mayor Smith about how they reached out to the people of Mesa to make their community a better place. He not only talks the talk, but he walks the walk. We can do the same thing here in Southern Nevada. Will you please join me in thanking Mayor Smith for his contributions today? He was very inspiring. So what we're talking about today is what I might call real-world planning. I'm reminded about a university in the Midwest that was planning sidewalks and pathways for a new campus that was being built. But instead of looking out at how other pathways were built on the campus, they built the buildings and then they waited. They waited to see where the students actually would walk. And then they built the pathways along the trails that were created by the students. The students, without even knowing it, taught the teachers and created a plan that worked for their community. And that's what we need to do. Learn from the people who are actually affected by the decisions that we must make as leaders in this community, and as we chart the course to build a community of this future. They experience the decisions that we make, and now we need to give them an opportunity to lead us to a great plan. And in the process, we'll learn about the paths that make sense for all of the issues that confront us, from mass transit to economic development to health and to housing. Over the next 2 years, we're going out into the community, into many neighborhoods, workplaces, gathering spaces, as many as possible, to organizations and employers to encourage people to participate in the process. We have the technology to gather and track this information, and we need access to those folks. We need to collect as many voices as possible across the community, and this is your call to action. Remember when I said I'd get back to you on your role? Well, this is just one of the areas that you can all help us with. Each of you has a card on your table, and we're asking that you reach out and identify to as many groups as that you may be able to reach out to as possible. So pick up your pledge card and tell us what organizations that you can help get involved. We need them all, from large labor groups to small community churches, from ethnic or cultural groups to Rotary clubs and neighborhood association. For our purposes, every voice is equally important. The second item on your card asks, will you reach out to them on our behalf? In other words, are you willing to be a champion for our community? If the answer is yes, please fill in your contact information so that we can reach out to you. The pledge card also reminds you of your commitment, so take that with you and remember that we hope to engage with you and that we'd like to have you be a part of the process, and then reach out to the community and let people know when you speak to them about the program what Southern Nevada Strong is doing. I'd like to personally thank each and every one of you for being here today and express our appreciation for your commitment to Southern Nevada and to this project. We've got a lot of work to do and a lot of people that we have to reach, and when we do, that's when we'll have Southern Nevada Strong. Thank you very much.